What's going on? Hope you're having a good day. Check out my last live stream, which was about the travel ban, which was reinstated today by the Supreme Court. Check that out on YouTube or on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram at DreamRare, 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 at DreamRare. Follow me on Twitter at Legendary Energy. That's correct, on Twitter, Legendary Energy. This is my 15-second intro as I stall for people to get in. Thank you for joining if you're here. If not, wait about 10-15 more seconds and I will begin. Follow my page if you're new, Anomaly, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So President Trump has had a very spicy week, and he's tweeted about Bernie Sanders, the Democratic Party, and Barack Obama, and I want to tell you why it matters, and a lot of the stuff that he's saying is stuff that I've been saying all year. So we'll start with the tweet towards Bernie Sanders. You could look at it, go to his Twitter if you want to read it, but basically what he said was, why was the Democratic Party and the DNC allowed to cheat Bernie Sanders? He called him crazy Bernie Sanders, but he was kind of defending him while making fun of him anyway. His question was, why was the Democratic Party allowed to cheat Bernie Sanders out of a win? As everybody knows by now, it's public knowledge. It's been known by Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, progressive. Everybody knows that the entire Democratic primary is rigged. It's rigged with superdelegates. There's hundreds of people that are superdelegates. They're delegates who don't listen to the people. They just vote for Hillary Clinton. Instead of superdelegates, next time we'll just call them Hillary Clinton delegates, because they're nothing super about them. It's just a rigged election. So they rigged the election with superdelegates. That's how the Democratic primary is rigged. That wasn't enough, so they had to go further rig it. They're like, you know what? Since it's already rigged, let's rig it on top of rigging it. So then they rigged the media. They're like, let's elevate Donald Trump and assassinate his character, and then let's pretend like Bernie Sanders doesn't exist. And so they rigged the media against him, and that wasn't enough. They're like, you know what? Since we already control the media, we already rigged the media, we rigged the superdelegates, we rigged the election, we're lying to the whole world. That's not enough lying, cheating, and stealing, so let's cheat and steal more. They used Donna Brazile, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and a lot of the DNC people were actually actively cheating on Bernie Sanders, along with the Hillary Clinton cheating superdelegates, along with the already rigged, lying, dishonest media. They decided, you know what, let's feed CNN questions to Hillary Clinton before the debate. Since Donna Brazile works for the DNC, she works for CNN, why not? Let's rig the debate too. Why not do that? So they rigged every part of the election against Bernie Sanders, and Donald Trump tweeted about it. He said, why are they allowed to do that? Once again, I've said this hundreds of times after campaigning for Bernie Sanders against Hillary Clinton, I wanted to see him win very badly because I thought it was a clear-cut choice on who was more genuine and authentic and honest and good for people. But Donald Trump has time and time again defended Bernie Sanders more than he defends himself. Donald Trump has time and time again defended progressives and Bernie Sanders supporters and protected them with his word, because in this crazy state of the media, if you don't exist on the fringe, they can do anything they want and no one will know about it. So media attention is very, very important. And there's a lot of people that are in a DNC fraud lawsuit, like Jared Beck, head lawyer, who is very scared because everybody around this lawsuit keeps dying. Sean Lucas, who processed the DNC lawsuit, dropped dead a month after processing it, and he actually would have been a witness in the DNC fraud lawsuit. He can't be a witness in the lawsuit anymore because he's dead. You have Seth Rich, obviously, who they call a DNC staffer. They act like he was a low-level nobody, but he was actually a high-level data analyst who spoke at conferences, had a lot of insight on voter fraud, and he as well would have been a witness in the DNC fraud lawsuit, and he died. So there's two people dead, and meanwhile with Seth Rich, let's keep in mind, they say it was a botched robbery. They say he was robbed and killed, but one, he got shot multiple times and nothing was stolen, and two, they painted this picture that Seth Rich was shot dead, it was a botched robbery, this and that. He was actually alive. He was alive and talking and speaking very clearly, very awake, very alive when he got transported to the hospital. So where are the body cam footage? When it's Tiger Woods with the DUI, the body cam footage comes out immediately. A lot of the high profile police murders that have happened over the last year, there's been about 5 or 6 or so, the body cam footage always surfaces. We've seen the body or dash cam footage of almost every controversial murder mystery in America. So where's the Seth Rich footage? So Anyway, so Jared Beck, who is the head lawyer of the DNC lawsuit, he desperately needs somebody to talk about this, because if nobody talks about it, he's afraid he's going to lose his life. Another person is Barrington Wisenhunt, who was a federal prosecutor in Hollywood, Florida, in Debbie Wasserman Schultz's district, who got blunt force trauma to the head and thrown in an ocean. He was a father of 3, a federal prosecutor working on visas and whatnot. So that's 3 people surrounding the DNC. You have somebody in Debbie Wasserman Schultz's district who winds up dead. You have Seth Rich, a high-level data analyst who also would have been a witness on the DNC fraud lawsuit. And you have Sean Lucas, who actually processed the lawsuit. So that's 3 people surrounding the DNC that have winded up missing dead. Do I know who it is? Am I an investigative journalist? Am I going to question it? No, because I don't have that information, and I'm not pointing the finger. But would it be fair to say that if 3 people surrounding something very similar, dropped dead within a year, and 2 of them were witnesses, that it's kind of sketchy? So Jared Beck, the head lawyer of the DNC lawsuit, he needs help. And InfoWars actually had him on, which is very nice of them. A lot of people look down on them, but they sell healthy products, and they give a lot of people platforms. They gave Jared Beck, head of DNC lawsuit, a platform. They gave Prodigy of Mobb Deep, who passed away recently. Prodigy was actually the first hip-hop artist, I believe, ever to use the word Illuminati back in 1995. He said on a LL Cool J Who Shot Ya remix, he said, Illuminati got my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society, trying to keep their eye on me. Rest in peace, Prodigy, for Mobb Deep. Thank you, InfoWars, for giving them a platform. So this is the DNC fraud lawsuit. This is for Bernie Sanders supporters, and you have Donald Trump tweeting about it, constantly standing up for Bernie Sanders, constantly standing up for Bernie Sanders supporters, constantly standing up for the truth. And you have Bernie Sanders, meanwhile, a week ago he tweets, President Trump's a disaster. President Trump's a bad man he's attacking the media. How could President Trump attack the media? That's what Bernie Sanders says. How dare he attack the mainstream media? That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Is it really, Bernie? Because dangerous is what Jared Beck has to deal with, because you won't even stand up for your own supporters. Meanwhile, President Trump continues to speak about the truth so people actually feel safe and comfortable in this country, and you continue to lie about it and hide it. So that's the tweet that Donald Trump had about Bernie Sanders. He stood up he said, Bernie Sanders got cheated. Everybody knows, everybody with common sense, logic, reality, progressives, conservatives, doesn't matter. Everybody knows Bernie Sanders got cheated every which way. President Trump talks about it. Bernie Sanders himself never talks about it. You would think, since he's an independent, Bernie Sanders, the guy I voted for and campaigned for, I really liked him. He's an outsider. He's an independent. You would think that he really, used his power, his energy, his time, his money, all the people that he had. He must have used them in a direction of really, no, wait. He actually went on a unity tour with Tom Perez of the DNC. I mean, he's defending the mainstream media. He's touring with Tom Perez. To me, it's obvious. I'm a very loving person. I'm a very environmental friendly, social justice leading person, but Bernie Sanders is just not that guy to me. I mean, I get attacked a lot by Bernie Sanders supporters saying, "Anomaly, you're unfair." I don't know how else to put it. I mean, it's all very obvious to me. I love the environment. I love social justice. I love freedom. I love people of every ethnicity, creed, and culture. But Bernie Sanders, to me, he's just a fraud. I mean, it's very clear. He's putting people like Jared Beck at risk. He's putting his supporters at risk. He's putting American democracy at risk. And President Trump continues to be the only one tweeting about what the Democratic Party and the DNC truly did this election to Bernie Sanders. On to former President Barack Obama. Donald Trump this morning has accused him on Twitter of obstructing justice when it comes to the Russian Council, because, as I've been saying all year, the Russia Council is one of the looniest things I've ever seen, because it's completely one-sided. I'm going to get into that a little bit more in a little bit. Share this video to some groups while you're here. If you guys think other people would like to hear this, share it now. So now President Trump has seen enough information that he believes that Russia tried to meddle in our election. They attempted. They didn't really do anything, but it happened in August. And his claim on Twitter is, well, President Obama, why didn't he do anything about it? Why didn't he talk about it? Why didn't he make an effort to stop it? And to me, it has some truth in it and some lies. I think Obama did a little bit, not clearly enough, but the reason that Donald Trump said on Twitter was that Obama didn't say anything, Obama didn't say anything because if Hillary won, he was just going to sweep it under the rug and pretend it like it didn't happen. And in my opinion, I've said this for over a year now, so it's not because he tweeted it. I think that's for certain the case. I think they had everything rigged. They rigged the primaries. They had the media rigged. They had all of the polls saying it was a 99% chance. They weren't gonna mention Russia unless Donald Trump lost, because they were gonna act like it never happened. China's hacked us before. We get hacked all of the time. The United States servers have been hacked countless amount of times. We've interfered in elections. Obama's administration spied on Congress in America. They spied on Angela Merkel. There's reports of spying on everybody. Meanwhile, people think it's a new thing, like, oh my God, we might have worked for Russia. And this is the main thing that tells me how biased, one-sided, slanted, and dishonest the whole Russia Council is. Listen to this. John Podesta, huge Democrat, huge Democratic Party operative. He was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. John Podesta, very controversial figure. He is about to testify for this Russia Council they're having next week. So he's set to testify either this week or next week, sometime in the future. But get this people, and this is the biggest hypocrisy, madness that I've heard. John Podesta is perhaps the most important person to testify so far. He has the biggest connections to Russia out of anybody who testified so far. He was a lobbyist for the Uranium One deal that sent uranium to Russia. I believe it's still in the United States, but 20% of the United States is uranium to Russia. John Podesta. So why is his hearing is private? You had Comey's was live streamed. You had Jeff Sessions was live streamed to Twitter, to Facebook. It was everywhere. Why would John Podesta's be private? To me, that's the biggest hypocrisy of this whole thing. He has perhaps the biggest connection that we know thus far to Russia, yet America, the public, and the media is not allowed in the John Podesta hearing. It's private. Private from media, private from public. How does that make sense? How does that show the American people on either side that this is a fair trial? How does it show that, oh, we're definitely trying to get the truth. We're going to live stream some people and live stream them, and we're going to have events like it's the Super Bowl. We're going to meet at local bars and sit around and watch this on TV. But when John Podesta testifies, one person who's a Democrat, one person who's not on the Republican side, his is private. It's going to be hidden. How in the world does that make sense? That would be the real Super Bowl of this council, and it's literally being hidden. I mean, this is not my opinion. You could check. NBC did a post about it. Washington Times. Everyone did a post about it. They all put their little spin on it. But John Podesta will be at the hearing speaking, and he's being hidden. It's not going to be live streamed. It's not going to have media access. It's bizarre to me. How come only Republicans and Donald Trump people can get hassled and questioned and live streamed, and then when people like Loretta Lynch or John Podesta or Hillary Clinton or even Barack Obama, why doesn't he testify? If he had this information since August, like Trump says, why is he not testifying? What he knew, what he was going to do? To me, it's obvious. I mean, there's a lot of activity going on, a lot of lies going on, and I don't think this ever would have saw the light of day if Hillary Clinton would have won. That's why they never talked about it fully and made it a big issue until after the election. I think they had this election on lock. You know, they're used to just getting their way. They have the media, they have the Democratic part controlled. Usually both sides are controlled. They could pick a Republican, pick a Democrat. Doesn't matter who wins because they're on the same team. This election kind of changed that. You have somebody in Trump who's slashing through the narrative of the mainstream media and what has been fed to us. So they're freaking out. I'm going to end it on that. Check out Donald Trump's Twitter if you want. He talked about Bernie Sanders, the Democratic Party, Barack Obama, and what he thinks happened in the Russia thing. And to me, it's hard for me to know what's going on anymore because there's been 5+ fake stories about Russia hacking the election grid, Russia doing this, Russia doing that, intelligence saying this, intelligence saying that, and so many stories literally completely collapsed. They convinced Breitbart and InfoWars and even the Young Turks as being Russian. Everything is Russian now. Trump seems to think that they tried to meddle in the election and, were unsuccessful, or, didn't really do anything, didn't change votes, but they were making an attempt, and that Obama knew this in August, and then he said, of course, well, then why didn't you do anything? But, why did they sell uranium to Russia and never talk about it? How come the person who sold uranium to Russia isn't going to be live streamed or broadcasted or on TV? It's going to be hidden. Nothing about it makes sense. Remember, logic, facts, and reality don't matter when you just have constant lies and people who, fuel their politics off of emotion and serial liars. But it is what it is. That's my take on this. Have a good day. I'm going to put my links below. I'll probably be back later with some more information, some more posts. So check out my page, share it, tag a friend if you want, Twitter, Instagram, and donor box below. Thank you guys so much.